Well, hey there, fellow Vault Dwellers, Wastelanders, and Ghouls. It's March 2024, and we're only 2 weeks away from seeing the first Fallout television show. The question is, will it deliver the goods, or will it end up being yet another adaptation that's reduced to a shell of its source material? Only time will tell. But what I can say for sure is that I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited to see what a live-action version of this world will look like, and I'm excited to see if the creative team can effectively pull off Fallout's unique blend of dark humor. The hype has been continuing to build as we approach the April 12th release here in the US, so I thought it might be fun to start a brand new playthrough of the most recent Fallout game, Fallout 76. But before that, I did want to give a little bit of a background of my own history with Fallout. I got my first PC back in 1998, and having been used to a life of consoles, I now had access to an entirely new world of gaming. First-person shooters were pretty popular at that time, but there was just something about games like Final Fantasy Tactics, Baldur's Gate, Age of Empires, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and the Commandos series that just seemed to appeal to me. Exploring these types of games led me to discover Fallout. When I finally got a hold of the first game, I was instantly swept up in its world of mutants and makeshift weapons and the strange, goofy, Wild West atmosphere. From what I remember, I didn't really play long enough to beat the game. I also didn't delve into any of the following sequels, such as Fallout 2 or Fallout Tactics. Eventually, though, I would get my hands on Fallout 3 for the Xbox. Now, this was around 2012, and I was dealing with a situation at work where I felt powerless to help some of my coworkers with an internal situation. Weirdly enough, Fallout 3 proved to be some sort of saving grace for me during that time. I'd come home from a shitty day, turn Fallout 3 on, and for a few hours I had the power to help characters who exist in some fictional world. Fallout 3's fun factor was just being able to make choices between good and evil, directly impacting everything happening around me. Other than that, Fallout 3 was pretty bleak and dark, which raised the stakes of importance for every moral decision. Through the hundreds of hours I spent playing this game, it proved to be a meditative and life-changing experience. It pushed me to question my own judgments. It pushed me to go over my boss's head at work, raising awareness about some of the things that were going on, and essentially saving my coworkers from continuing to work in a toxic hellhole. Following several playthroughs of Fallout 3, I finally decided to give Fallout New Vegas a shot, but I quickly went back to Fallout 3. I think that what initially put me off was that while Fallout 3 had very black or white decisions, New Vegas presented a much more complicated world to navigate. It's not often as clear which decisions might be morally right or wrong, and instead it's filled with shades of gray. My love for Fallout 3 was purely because it was easy being heroic, but I didn't feel the same way with New Vegas. The world is also somewhat more polished in New Vegas, with the glamorous casinos and the Vegas Strip taking center stage, whereas Fallout 3 just feels a lot more like Mad Max. I think it was a year later that I finally gave New Vegas a second chance, and I'm glad I did. To date, I've probably put more hours into New Vegas than any other video game. It is an incredibly complex world with multiple endings and seemingly endless areas to explore. On my third and fourth playthroughs, I was still discovering things I had previously missed, and in that regard, New Vegas is the gift that keeps on giving. It's a perfect sandbox open-world role-playing game that still holds up today. In 2015, Fallout 4 was released by Bethesda Game Studios, the same studio who developed Fallout 3. One thing to note is that Fallout 4 was the next game following New Vegas. However, New Vegas was developed by Obsidian Entertainment. So while there is overlap with some of the more tried and true mechanics, Fallout 4 just feels very different. One major difference is that your character actually has voice-recorded dialogue to go with the conversation options you choose. This sort of changes the atmosphere a bit and takes away some of the immersion offered by the previous two games. Likewise, there's an entirely new base building and crafting component to Fallout 4, which can be fun, but sometimes also feels like a little bit of a distraction. Overall though, I enjoyed Fallout 4 for what it was, another Fallout game, and really, I'm always happy to explore new areas of this world. This leads me to Fallout 76, the first online multiplayer Fallout game. Now, I've put a few hundred hours into it on PS4, but decided to start a new playthrough on PC. This means I'm losing a lot of my hard work, including some cool shelter elements I've collected over the years. I feel like there's going to be an influx of new players in the upcoming weeks, which means it's the perfect time to hop back in. There's also going to be an expansion of the map this year, and I'm really excited to see what happens with that. One caveat I'd like to make though is that I'm certainly no lore expert for Fallout, and there is a lot of lore. I spent a lot of time as a kid learning the lore for Star Wars and Marvel Comics, and I feel like my brain just doesn't have any room left for much else at this point. So with that said, I will explore the lore on this playthrough, just don't expect me to connect the dots if some Easter egg from another Fallout game is mentioned, or something obscure like that happens. I'm also not really interested in the most OP min-max build with the best stats and armor upgrades. Really, I'm just here to explore, see the sights, have a good time, and be immersed in this world for a few hours each day while I share the experience. So feel free to come along with me if that's your thing, and thanks for tuning in. Have a safe day out there, Wastelanders.